Hi everybody, Jason Smith here. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Truth About Social Ads. I'm an agency owner specializing in Facebook and Instagram ads, and I have dedicated my professional life to helping you learn what others won't tell you about Facebook ads. You know, I believe there's so much information that no one is sharing about Facebook ads and how you can fail and win running ads for your business and when it's time to hire an agency. That's why I'm here bringing ideas and information that can help you run successful Facebook and Instagram ads. Hey everybody, how you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in to our first episode of The Truth About Social Ads. You know, I've been putting this off and wanting to do a podcast for a long time, and finally we took the plunge, and here we are, and I'm super excited to be sharing a few things with you that I think are super important, things that I wish somebody was talking about as I was learning Facebook ads and learning how to do different things inside the Facebook ads platform, and I'm really excited to be sharing a bunch of really cool topics with you. So just a little bit about me. My name, again, is Jason Smith. And I just want to share a little bit about my background with you, just so you can get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, I'm super, super excited. So, gosh, I have a crazy background, crazy story, actually. And just so you know, as a listener, it's really hard for me to talk about myself. I'd much rather be talking to or with somebody in a conversation here on the podcast. But I do know the importance of telling a little about my background so you know where I'm coming from, what I've done, and gosh, just the craziness that my life has been. My wife always tells me that I've lived like 20 lives. So I'm excited to share with you guys. So just a little bit about me. Before I got into the Facebook ads world, before I became an agency owner, I was actually a Los Angeles policeman for over 13 years. And it's kind of crazy to think that I went from being a Los Angeles police officer. I like to say policeman. I think it sounds a little cooler. But so I was a policeman for over 13 years for Los Angeles, and not in the nicest places of Los Angeles either. I worked in the really, really bad neighborhoods of Los Angeles pretty much my whole career. I loved being a gang cop. That's what I really loved doing. I loved chasing gang members, and, I was there to put them in jail, right, when they would do something bad. So, I was a very active policeman. I'm kind of an active person in general. I'm the type of person that when I do something, I try to give it 110% of my energy to be successful. And I think that's why I've been successful up to this point with my agency, is because I dove in with both feet, and I'm giving it everything I possibly can to make sure it's successful. So when I was working as a policeman, as you can imagine, again, working in the worst neighborhoods in Los Angeles, gosh, involved in probably every violent situation you could possibly think of. And, it got to the point where it was just wearing on me personally, wearing on my family. As you know, policemen work 10 to 12 hour shifts. And it's never really the same, especially working in those neighborhoods. It's something different every single night. And although I loved, my job and being a policeman, what I didn't like is coming home, sometimes not knowing if I would come home, especially being involved in some situations that I was involved in. And I may elaborate on some of that in some further episodes, and what I went through as a policeman, and why you should be nice to policemen. And not all the time. Policemen, they make mistakes and they do stupid things just like any human being does. But I was in a situation in the police department where, I was involved in those stressful situations every single night. And so it was like second nature to me. So when a stressful situation came along for me, I didn't make a ton of really stupid mistakes because I did it every night. So just like anything, I'm sure the podcast will get better as time goes on, the more episodes we have. I'm definitely not one to be a jabbermouth and be talking all the time, but I do think I could add some value to your Facebook ad journey as things go on. And I did that exact same thing as a policeman. I was very active and got myself into some trouble, ended up working really hard in these neighborhoods, and the gang members didn't like me too much. And, my name was spray painted on the walls. And, as a policeman, it's kind of cool, but it's also pretty scary knowing that there is one of the most violent gangs in Los Angeles is out there to hurt you, and they formulated a plan to hurt you. And it's pretty scary. So I'm not the only one in my life that I have to think about. I have a family and kids, so and they're obviously near and dear to my heart. So I need to also think about them. And when it came to the point where I needed to leave, because if I didn't leave, I probably wouldn't be here today, that's the point where I said, okay, I need to pull the string here and resign. So how I got started in the Facebook ads world was I helped a friend out with some Facebook ads. He owned a supplement company. And I just, I realized I was kind of good at it. I kind of tapped into my creative side, which I didn't know was there. As a policeman, it's funny, I always say, if a dumb cop can do it, anybody can do it, right? So as a policeman, you're not creative. I mean, gosh, I was chasing bad guys around for 13 years. So the creative side didn't come out until I started writing ad copy and looking at different assets for creative and videos and images and stuff like that. So I quickly realized that I actually had a creative side, and I'm left-handed. And people always told me, left-handed people in general are creative. And I really never believed that. But I kind of think that has something to do with it. And I ended up writing some really good ad copy, had no clue what I was doing. And we ended up getting his company scaled up and doing some pretty good things. And I ended up researching a little bit more about Facebook ads and, an agency type of role. I was looking for something else at the time because I was ready to resign from the police department, but I didn't really know exactly what I was going to do. Most policemen end up doing security or something like that. And I did do executive security for a while and, was driving around really, really prominent movie stars and all that stuff, but I didn't want to do that necessarily. So I went down the road of Facebook ads, and I ended up coming across a Google search. I Google searched, Facebook ad agencies, and I came across, at the time, was called Dominate Web Media, which now they're called Tier 11. And I'm going to have Ralph, who's the owner of Tier 11, and Deacon, who's the VP of Operations, on the next couple episodes of the podcast because I really want to showcase how they help me. But I ended up getting in contact with them and didn't really know what I was getting myself into at the time, but they had a 5 to 6 day intensive training. And I thought when I originally signed up that it was going to help me learn to run better Facebook ads, which it definitely was. It was a training for that. But little did I know when I showed up, it was in Austin, Texas, and I'll never forget showing up and walking in the room, and here I am, long beard, tattoos, wearing my flannel and my Dickies pants. And I walk in and I see all these guys in, collared shirts, and they're all dressed nice. And I thought I was in the wrong place. And I was the only one that didn't have like a name badge printed out. And I was like, oh man, yep, I'm for sure in the wrong place. But I guess they just didn't, they didn't print mine out. And I'll never forget looking around the room going, man, what have I gotten myself into? And then when I sat down and started learning, and they started, laying out the course and what we'll be learning and all that good stuff, I had no clue what a CPA was, what a KPI was. Here I am listening to all these things and all these metrics that I had never heard of before. And I never thought I could actually run well-organized, good, high-quality, high-level Facebook ads when I left the room the first day. But what I did was they gave us this like 400-page booklet And I just literally dove in and stayed up till 3 a.m. the first night studying and the homework that they assigned us to look at, and came back the second day. And then they started talking in this training about how agency owners are mainly work from home, mostly remote. Their business, Tier 11's business at the time, was totally remote, and they were making quite a bit of money. And I was very intrigued by that. And in talking to some of the guys that are attending, and these guys are like, oh yeah, I make about 25, 30 grand a month. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. And for some of you listening, that may not sound like a lot of money, but you have to understand and remember at the time I was making $4,000 a month as a policeman on a good month. That's with overtime, and that's working 70 to 80 hours of overtime a week. Right. And I, when I'd get a $4,000, $5,000, check after 2 weeks of work, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Right. Like, this is awesome. But then I'm hearing these guys that are making $20, $30, $40, $50, $70,000 a month working from home. I was like, man, I really need to check this out. So what I did literally for every single day I was there, I would go back to my hotel room. Everybody else was out like having drinks and, doing all this stuff. I would go back to my room and I would just study. And I would stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'd be back in the room at 8 a.m. And I knew by the third day that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an agency owner, and I wanted to help businesses grow and scale with Facebook ads. Didn't know exactly how I was going to do it, but what I did know is that I was going to give it 110%. I was going to jump in with both feet, and that I was going to do this. And there was no other option. At the time I was very tired and run down. I would live at the station for 2, 3, 4 days in a row sometimes because of all the activity going on. I was also a gang expert and a weapons expert. So I was testifying off duty in court a lot of times, because once you get to the point where you're testifying as an expert, not a ton of policemen testify as experts on different modalities. So I was testifying as a gang expert, as a weapons expert in all these gang trials, as well as my own arrests that I was doing, and, gun arrests and, major crimes arrests and, things like that take up a ton of time. And we have trials for days. I mean, there would be sometimes as a gang expert, I'd be up on the stand for 2 days straight, 8 hours a day for 2 days straight on the stand testifying. So I was burnt out. I was not seeing my family. I was never home. I was never able to go to any of my kids' activities and things we had going on, working every weekend because, I thought it was cool being a policeman and city of LA and all this stuff, but it really wasn't that cool. For some it's great, and most policemen retire, but, I didn't want to retire and then have to work. After hearing all these stories of these guys making, a decent income and a great income and living, not living paycheck to paycheck and being at home with their families, like I thought that was a total myth, right? Working from home. And fast forward 4 years later, I am an agency owner of a full service Facebook and Instagram ad agency where we help businesses grow and scale with Facebook ads. And I really do owe my success to Ralph at Tier 11 and Deacon at Tier 11. Deacon was actually at the certification I was at. He was a student at the certification when I was there, and he kind of saw the drive and the fire that I had, and he actually gave me my first 2 clients as an agency owner. And what I did was I learned and applied what they taught me at that original training that I went to in Austin, Texas. And lo and behold, I started getting my 2 clients that he gave me really good results. And then those snowballed into 10 clients. And in a matter of probably 3 months, 4 months, I think I was around the $15,000 a month revenue stream at that point. And then I just went up from there. And yes, I did the hard work, and I worked my butt off to be able to get where I'm at today, working till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I was already used to not getting sleep. So the sleep for me, the hard work wasn't an issue. It was just learning what I needed to learn to become a successful agency, and not really just a successful agency, but just to run really good quality Facebook ads. And I owe it to those guys. And then a few months later, after the certification, I ended up talking to Ralph at Tier 11, and I actually went to work for Tier 11. It's a very successful Facebook ad agency, and it was awesome. It was a great experience. I am going to have Ralph and Deacon on the show because I want to thank them for their support. We still have a great relationship to this day, and I'm a firm believer in thanking those that helped me get where I'm at today, and always having them at the forefront of my mind as I think back to where I was and where we're at today as an agency. And I owe my success to them, and it's pretty awesome. So really what I want to do too is touch for just a few minutes here on what we're going to be covering in the podcast and why you should listen, right? Definitely want you to get some value out of the podcast. So we're going to do things a little different here. Like I said, in the title of the show, I want to tell you things about Facebook ads that no one else is telling you. And what I mean by that is I want to tell you about the failures, about the hard times, about why businesses are failing with Facebook ads, and also successes, right? Like why Facebook highlighted our agency and did a couple case studies on our behalf, right? Third-party case studies, and talk to business owners and talk to other agency owners like Ralph and ask them about their success and what they're doing, and really come from a mindset of somebody who started just a few years ago at nothing and went to, become a successful agency owner, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to highlight that. We're going to, also, if any of you have questions or want to know a certain topic, I definitely want to highlight topics that you guys want me to talk about Facebook ads. And also, we're going to get into things like, why you should and shouldn't be doing certain things when building campaigns and ads, and, even interacting with other agencies, and when it may be time to take it out of in-house and take it to an agency and hire an agency, and what you should look for when you're looking for an agency, and the right questions to ask when hiring an agency. I think that's very important. And hiring the right agency the first time, and not letting that string on and not getting the results you don't want to get. So, and I'll be sprinkling in some of my police stories maybe every once in a while. Have a ton of those, and so I just want it to be a great experience for all the listeners, and I really want you to come away from the podcast going, wow, that was pretty cool. Like no one else is really talking about those issues. And, I do want to have Facebook representatives on the podcast to talk more about the big black hole of Facebook. Because if you're an advertiser or a business owner, that sometimes Facebook can be a big black hole, but it doesn't have to be if you have the right resources. So yeah, looking forward to that. And, I really also want to touch too on what I'm doing personally and the things I've done to get me where I'm at today. So I'll be doing a mixture of interviews. We'll be talking about how to set up campaigns, how to run successful ads, because I don't want to make it all about interviews. I do want to give you data-driven content that'll be important for you as a business owner or as a marketer, or as an agency owner. And, I don't know every single little thing there is to know about Facebook ads. I think I know quite a bit, thanks to, the people that have helped me along the way. And the main thing that I take from any situation at Facebook is it's a constantly changing platform, constantly learning new things. And if we have that mindset going into this, then we'll know how to proceed when the times get tough, and not to give up when we're in the new learning phase of Facebook, and that seems like it's weekly, right? So we'll keep everybody updated with changes to Facebook, and we'll be publishing episodes every week. So I'll try to come at you with either a new interview or a new topic weekly. Just looking forward to it, and looking forward to sharing everything and sharing insights and some really cool stuff with the audience. and also just to talk to cool people and have really cool people on. I used to race motocross, and so I want to talk to those businesses, and I want to, I'm an avid wakeboarder, and I like to wake surf. So all those things that I do in my personal life, I do want to bring to the podcast, because when there's a personal side to any story or any podcast, I think that makes it just even more powerful, because I know I want to listen when a personality and really personal things come out in a podcast. So look forward to creating some more great podcasts, and can't wait to share ideas and data and some really cool things that no one else will tell you about how to run successful Facebook campaigns. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, thanks so much for listening to The Truth About Social Ads. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please visit our website at truthaboutsocialads.com for show notes and additional episodes. And if you have time, please subscribe to the podcast, and please consider rating and reviewing the show if you enjoyed it. That will help other people find us. By the way, I would love to hear from you. Please send me an email at jason@spotlightsocialllc.com with your feedback, questions, or a topic you'd like me to talk about on the show. If you send me a question, maybe I'll read it on the show. See you later. Bye.